the longest-running Vietnamese language newspaper in our region. Go to nvnorthwest.com.
Quý vị có muốn kết nối với cộng đồng người Việt tại Seattle? Chỉ cần quảng cáo trên báo Người Việt Tây Bắc, tờ báo tiếng Việt lâu đời nhất trong khu vực của chúng ta. Xin hãy gọi 206-722-6984.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to LidLine Sports. I'm your host, Renault Bean. Everybody calls me Pepe. Well, promised you bracketology today, if you remember last week. So last week we got into the NBA in great detail. And this week we're going to do a little bit of NBA, a little bit of NFL, but mostly we're going to be doing the bracketology for today.
Yes,
so still waiting on Lil O to get here, but until then,
I'm in here.
My man, Lil O, how's it going, brother?
Doing all right. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So I was just saying that we're going to get into bracketology, the NCAA round of 68 today. Going to be our main focus. But we do have a little bit of news, of course, and other things. So, you know what? I want to get right to that. First of all, we all know that baseball is back. What's up, Bill Walker Jr.? Good to see you. Rhonda Dorsey, always good to see you, too. In Miami. Woo-wee. Oh, you're there with Niecy Coleman, my little sister. All right. Good for you.
Living it up.
So, anyway, baseball is back. And I for one, am glad because, you know, I'm a big baseball fan. More so than Granville. And speaking of Granville, by the way, he will be back next week. As you know, last week he was working the tournaments and stuff and had to take some time off. This week he went down to Vegas to watch one of his ex-players play in the tournament, and also took a little time off to visit some sites. And so I'll let him tell you all about that next week. I won't steal his thunder. So anyway, baseball is back, and it starts April 7th, if I'm not mistaken. Spring training has started today, if I'm not mistaken, as well. And some moves are being made. So trades. The Yankees picked up Josh Donaldson. The Mariners made a big trade today. They traded with the Cincinnati Reds. They picked up
Jesse Winker.
Thank you, Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez.
Yep.
And so those two are big hitters for the Mariners, bats that they need. Winker was an all-star with the Reds, which is a good thing. All-star outfielder. He batted about 305, on-base percentage over 900, and he hit 24 home runs with 71 RBIs in only 110 games last season. Suarez hit 49 home runs back in 2019. He hit 31 last year last season in a sort of a down year for him. His batting average slipped below 200, so that in and of itself is a concern. So what do you think about it, O?
It was exactly what the Mariners needed. They needed bats. They needed to find guys that can put runs on the board. As we all know, that they were on the second half of scoring and one of the worst in the worst scoring team in the AL West.
Yeah, and still won 90 games.
Yep, and still won 90 games. So it was very vital to get bats in that lineup. They also got Adam Frazier before the lockout started, and he's another 300 hitter.
Yes.
So I think what the Mariners are doing, they're finally showing, the front office is finally showing that, you know, they were ready to compete. Now I just think that they're missing one more starting pitcher, or maybe somebody in the bullpen, and I think the Mariners should be good to go. I think with this trade, I don't know, you know, the rumblings about another big free agent signing in either Trevor Story or Chris Bryant. with this trade, I don't know if it'll happen, but
Yeah, I don't see that happening now. I think that was the alternative, you know.
yep.
So yeah, I don't see Story or Chris Bryant coming here now, but that's fine because I think nobody expected them to get two bats, right?
Mhm.
So and for what we gave up pitcher Justin Dunn and Brandon Williamson, who's a very if there's one guy you probably wish you didn't have to give up, it would probably be Williamson out of the trio
Okay.
that they gave up, and they also gave up outfielder Jake Fraley, who
Yep.
started off well when he got here last year from Cleveland, but kind of tailed off towards the end of the season. So he goes back to Ohio, so to speak. But anyway, so yeah, the Mariners are trying to do some things. Yes, they probably could use another pitcher, but it's good that they got Robbie Ray just before the lockout, and so that was a big get,
Yep.
because he was the Cy Young Award winner last year with Tampa, so can't do much better than that. So that's all good. So baseball is back. I'm happy. So we'll see what happens from then on. The Mariners, of course, are expected to do well, and it'd be very disappointing, to say the least, if they can't get into the playoffs again. I mean, if they do make the playoffs, what are we expecting? Are we expecting to win a round? Are we expecting to win 2 rounds? What could you expect?
Um,
It would be nice. It would be nice to win a round, right? What's up, John A. Hughley? See you,
yeah.
brother. Uh,
We're all talking about a team that hasn't made the playoffs since 2001. So I mean, just them getting there would be so refreshing, man.
yeah.
I won't put too much pressure on what they can possibly do if they make the postseason. Just for
hmm
me, just seeing them get back in postseason play, man.
Yeah, I just hope it's not a one and done situation. Like if they're in
Oh
a
yeah,
one-game
that too.
series, yeah, I would hope that they could carry it further than that. But look, like you said, even if they do get in right now, that's the thing. Get your foot in the door, get in the playoffs, and then
Oh,
let
definitely.
let it chips fall where they may.
Yep.
So in the NFL, quite a bit has happened since we spoke last week.
A lot.
Uh, we talked about, for those of you joining us, we talked about Russell Wilson trade last week. We even brought in a special broadcast last Tuesday just to talk about that. We brought in Masvita and Rick, Granville, you and myself. We all chimed in. So that was pretty interesting. So we don't need to beat a dead horse on that one. So since then, Tom Brady has announced his unretirement, stating after 2 months that he realized that he's not done. He wants to return and get back with his teammates for another title run. Bro, man, listen, just say after 2 months with the wife and kids, you don't you
Oh
don't like them.
man. Oh man.
You
The
got
him
tired of being around them, man. You're
Yeah,
not
that
that
whole
guy.
him being a full-time dad and husband was, I guess, overrated.
Yeah, he was like,
2
what is
months.
this? What? You gotta run errands and get groceries and and all
I
that. He said,
one
no,
thing
no.
one thing though I love about Tom Brady is just it just seems like he really loves the game of football, and it's been
Yes.
his life uh, forever, and he just still has a burning passion to compete at the highest level, to win Super Bowls. And I mean, it was just kind of weird seeing the retirement because he just had one of the best seasons of his career. Uh, and then on top of that, just it was a disappointment in the playoffs.
hmm
And then just the retirement, it kind of came out of nowhere, but there was rumblings about it. But even just how he retired, it's like for him being unquestionably the greatest football player of all time,
hmm
just seeing it end like that, it just didn't feel right. And you
Yeah,
heard the
it
rumble,
did. It did seem a little off,
yeah.
but So I'll tell you, who do you think was happy about this? And I'm not talking about anybody in Tampa.
Huh? Man. Well, I don't know who's happy about it.
Well,
Like I said,
if
Tom
you
Brady still
if
playing
you
at it.
travel up north,
Uh-huh.
if you travel up north to Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania,
Oh.
I could tell you that the happiest guy would have been Ben Roethlisberger because now he does not have to share the Hall of Fame spotlight with Tom Brady. If you think about that, because folks of those that perhaps don't know, when you retire from the NFL, you got to wait 5 years before you get inducted into the Hall of Fame. And so, since Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady both retired, and I say that in air quotes for Tom Brady, that they both would have been inducted the same time, same year, more than likely. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
there's no guarantee, but come on, both of them are getting in probably first, without any issues whatsoever. So, Roethlisberger is spared from that. But back to Tom Brady, real quick. They got a lot of free agents down in Tampa. That's probably going to re-sign now.
Yep.
That TB12 is back. We know that Rob Gronkowski and OJ Howard, both tight ends for Tampa, are both free agents. I'm pretty sure Rob Gronkowski, the Gronkster, will probably come back. They franchised wide receiver Chris Godwin, but he's rehabbing from a torn ACL. And of course, Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, both running backs for the Tampa Buccaneers, will probably return as well. If I'm not, I would think so. But they did lose center Ryan Jensen because he went to Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And then guard Alex Kappa. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. They re-signed Ryan Jensen, but they lost guard Alex Kappa, who appears to be headed to Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
So so the quarterback quandary in Tampa is again done, and so the quarterbacks that are out there don't have to try and vie for that job. So today, the Pittsburgh Steelers signed 2-year deal to ex-Bear and ex-Bill Mitchell Trubisky. Your thoughts on him? Oh,
I mean, that's your team, man.
yeah.
You're definitely. I mean, Mitchell. I've heard that Mitchell Trubisky has looked pretty solid in the offseason so
Mhm.
far. You would have liked them to try to really make a run at Deshaun Watson.
I knew that wasn't happening, but you're right.
Yeah. But I just like what I like. I like that the Pittsburgh Steelers I think that they can still be competitive next year. So
Mhm.
uh, a lot's going to be on Mitchell Trubisky's shoulders, right when he gets there. I mean,
Absolutely.
Pittsburgh is a storied franchise. They come in there to win. So
Yeah.
we'll see what it looks like. What do you
Well,
think so far?
Trubisky had no weapons in Chicago and horrible
Yeah.
coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So last season, he went to Buffalo. Now he knew he wasn't going to start for Josh Allen, but he went to Buffalo, which was good because number one, he went into a winning organization, and he got to sit behind Josh Allen, a,
Yep.
a top 10 quarterback. So, and he did play well actually in the preseason. Trubisky did, and at the times that he had to fill in. So that kind of experience for him should be pretty good. And of course, we'll be able to tell now if he's that guy as far as
Mm-hmm.
a quality starting quarterback in the NFL, because there's no excuse now. Okay, so basically Pittsburgh's giving him the keys, and so now we'll see what he can do.
Yep.
The Washington Commanders, that's kind of funny to say, acquired Carson Wentz from the Indianapolis Colts. Now, here's the funny thing about this. Right after the trade was done, Colts coach Frank Reich actually apologized to the Indy organization for pushing to acquire him last season.
Wow.
Man, listen, I can't make this stuff up. That floored me when he did that. That tells you what kind of influence or kind of negativity that Carson Wentz had in that short time in Indy. Did you hear that? Oh,
I did not know that. I did not hear that.
hmm
That's crazy.
yeah. I mean, I can't imagine a coach having to apologize to. Listen, I'm sorry we got this guy. It's like the Lakers apologizing for getting Russell Westbrook
Yeah, I just
after
think
the season.
that's so
That kind of
unprofessional. Yeah,
equivalency.
that's so unprofessional if you ask me. But yeah, I don't know how I really feel about a general manager coming out and doing that. I
No, it was
mean,
a coach.
oh, head coach, wow.
Yes, the head coach, and that was supposed to be his guy because they were in Philly together when during that Super Bowl run, and Wentz got hurt, and they had bring in Nick Foles, and of course we know what happened. Now, speaking of Nick Foles, why isn't he signed somewhere? Where's he at? I mean, Colt
Like,
McCoy just re-signed with Arizona. The Vikings re-signed. Well, actually, excuse me, they extended Kirk Cousins one extra year so they could spread some salary cap money. You know, Kirk Cousins is going to make $40 million this season coming up.
I think I remember listening to that this morning and something about how much money he's made like over the
hmm
last 5, 6 years or something like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah, he's going to make 40, and then he's going to be owed 55 million by next March. Yeah, I don't think
wow.
that's going to happen, bro. So the Vikings going to save 14 million in the cap, and then the cap right now for them is at 31.9. And for the fact you just mentioned it, Kirk Cousins, did you know, for the last 6 years, has made the most money of anybody in the NFL? Kirk Cousins.
Nothing and nothing on the field to show for it.
No, not hardly. I mean, he's good,
Yeah,
right?
he's
But
good.
he's good as far as uh, being, he's good at giving you a record over 500. He's,
Mhm.
he's not. If he gets you to the playoffs, he won't get you deep into the playoffs.
Yeah.
He could probably get you there, but he won't get you deep in it. So I don't know. I don't know how he gets all this money. What Minnesota sees in him. I like him, but he is what he is. So
Yeah.
yeah, whatever. But of course, folks, if you're just now tuning in, we're speaking about the NFL right now. The big story, of course, is what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson. At this point, it looks like the Carolina Panthers is probably the front runner. He's from that region because he played at Clemson, right? Um, they have the commodity to make the trade. And so the teams have already offered some players, like the Cleveland Browns have offered, I think, 2 firsts, a second or two, probably another low rounder, and they offered Baker and Kareem Hunt. And the Texans said no.
Dang. That's a
Wow.
lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Philly offered a pretty lucrative, lucrative package themselves. However, and including, excuse me, Jalen Hurts, and the Texans said no. So Deshaun Watson also has a no trade clause, so he can negate anybody, anything if he wants to.
Mhm.
The Texans are being pretty stubborn, though. I mean, they you think that they have to unload the guy, but yet they're trying to make sure they get some value. What do you think,
And
O?
then and then I also heard too that the Texans will not trade with Indianapolis Colts because they do
Well,
not
that's
want to trade
yeah,
in their
good
division.
point. Yeah, they won't do that because obviously, well, why didn't the Seattle Seahawks want to trade with Washington and Philadelphia? Because they're in the same conference.
Yep.
Indianapolis is in the same division with
Mhm.
the Texans. So just like Seattle said, oh heck no, we're not trading to Arizona or San Fran or Rams or anything like that. So it's the same situation, and it makes sense. So, but man, now I think Carolina's probably offering like McCaffrey and this and that, and probably Sam Darnold, I guess. So we shall
Yeah,
see. Go ahead.
I agree with you. I think he will end up in Carolina. They were the team that tried to get him at the trade deadline last year. I think he'll end
Yeah.
up there.
Now there is a sleeper team that nobody has mentioned that might be able to pull it off, and that's the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not heard of it.
No, neither have I. That's just something that I look
Okay.
at what they have. I look at Matt Ryan. He might be good for another couple of years, maybe. And so, Texans, could look at that. And plus, like I said, they're in a whole nother conference. So that's something they might want to look at.
Okay.
But, we shall see. But also, you guys, folks, got to know that Deshaun's going to come with some baggage, and I'm not talking about the criminal charges that they refused to indict him with. There's going to be a personal conduct situation with the NFL, so he's probably going to face some suspension. So you're going to pay a heavy price to get Deshaun Watson, plus the fact you're going to not have him for probably the first chunk of the season. So if that's your guy, that's going to hurt, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, that's going to hurt significantly. So it's going to be really interesting to see who decides to pick him up. So if you want to find out more transactions and get a free agent tracker, go to NFL.com or ESPN, and they got NFL transactions and free agent signings up to the minute. Because we know that the NFL season doesn't actually start until March 16th. And I don't mean season as far as playing games. I mean as far as the new year. Fiscal year for the NFL starts March 16th. So, anything you want to elaborate on or follow up on, before we go to the NBA?
No. Definitely just I just want to even go back to like the Tom Brady situation. Even him coming back, it was just so like, what's the word I'm looking for? Man, it just like came out of nowhere, but it was just like it just popped up. It wasn't like a big story looming up to Tom Brady possibly wanting to come back. It was just
bam, I'm back.
Yeah. It's just a Twitter notification like, hey, done kicking with the kids. I'm coming back to play that football. So
yes.
I just thought that was so funny.
It's so funny because the thing I've been hearing was blank them kids,
Exactly.
Oh, one more thing. Did you hear about the guy that bought the last touchdown that Brady threw for
yes
over $500K? Just the same day or the day before, they announced that he came back. Man, I'd be sick. But look, if you got that much money to throw around to buy a football, knows what to do with. So
exactly.
you can't feel that bad. It's like, oh well, you've probably been smart in your finances. You made one dumb decision.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Let's go into OT, man.
Yeah, one of my headlines that we'll just get in before we go to break. I don't know if you watched 76ers played the Brooklyn Nets in Philadelphia.
I sure did.
I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys watching too were at home or somewhere watching the game. The hype around this game was this is the first time. Yeah.
That was the first game I watched from start to finish all season.
Yep. And that's usually how it goes in the NBA season. You'll see a lot of us, because I think also too, outside the Phoenix Suns, I've probably watched maybe 2 or 3 games from start to finish over the last few weeks. But I didn't think to myself like, dang, I actually haven't really watched a full game from start to finish all season.
Right.
Yeah, this is around the time you usually do that. But this game was over before it started. Ben Simmons was there, did not suit up, but was in street clothes. He heard it from the crowd as soon as he walked in the arena with the F Ben Simmons chants. He took it pretty well. I mean, but like I said, he wasn't playing, so
Yeah.
seemed like he took it pretty well. Who didn't take it well though was James Harden. James
Yeah.
Harden played atrocious in this game, and he was 3 for 17. He had only 11 points. Kyrie Irving actually really did a good job guarding him. You know, there was a rumor saying that those two had got into it during practice, playing
Mhm.
one-on-one with each other. Some words were said. It kind of looked like that matchup was a little personal to Kyrie, so maybe there is some fire behind that smoke.
Oh yeah,
Um,
there's smoke for real.
but yeah, Kevin Durant, he said he wanted to come in and quiet this crowd for Ben Simmons. And he made a point saying that Philadelphia is not a good defensive transition team, and they wanted to exploit that, and they did. They got out in transition. Kyrie had 24, KD had 25. Seth Curry played well. He also was in that trade. But you know, it just brought up, you know, moments from when I know this is not a playoff game, but it brought up moments when James Harden had disappeared in big moments.
Yeah.
And you know, everybody can say all they want that this was a regular season game. This game had a lot on the table. It wasn't
Right.
just your average regular season game. These guys just got traded just 2-3 weeks ago. And we know there's probably a little bit of bad blood between maybe James Harden and Kyrie and KD. And we know there's a lot of bad blood between Ben Simmons and the whole Philadelphia. So to see James Harden, you know, kind of, you know, just throw this one away in his press conference and, you know, say, you know, it was good that he had a game like this and they got the ASSs kicked. But I'm just not buying that because we've seen this before, like from
Yeah.
him. And I think a lot is going to now have to be asked. As much as I like Matisse, a lot is going to have to be asked for him to guard the best player night in and night out.
Mhm.
You're now Tobias Harris is trying to now reinvent himself, even now with James Harden on the floor, and a Tyrese Max who's playing really well this season. But no bench points as well. They don't have a guy coming off the bench now that Tyrese Maxey is starting. And I just watched the Denver Nuggets game. They only had like 16 or 14 bench points today. So I have a lot of questions about this Philadelphia 76ers team.
Yeah. Hold that thought. We're gonna go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna finish up in the NBA. And I got a player that I want to talk about real quick.
Yes,
But
sir.
when we come back, we'll do that right after this. Do not go away.
Rainier Avenue Radio. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Atlantic Street Center has been serving the children and families in the Seattle King County area since 1910. We partner with families and communities to raise healthy, successful children and youth through services including counseling, early learning, youth development, domestic violence, and education support for school-aged children. Committed to serving the African American community, Atlantic Street Center provides services and support for all marginalized people. Learn more at AtlanticStreetCenter.org.
Do you want to reach out to the Vietnamese community in Seattle? Just advertise in Người Việt Tây Bắc, that is Northwest Vietnamese News, the longest running Vietnamese language newspaper in our region. Go to nvnorthwest.com.
This message is brought to you by Public Health, Seattle and King County, the Washington Department of Health, Washington Chapter AAP, and Within Reach. No matter where your classroom is, whether in person or online, routine vaccinations protect your child from serious diseases like measles, mumps, and chickenpox, and they keep your child safe, healthy, and thriving. Need help finding a provider? Visit parenthelp123.org or call the Help Me Grow Washington hotline at 1-800-322-2588.
God is Rainier Avenue Radio World, your favorite community radio station. We're putting out all kind of inputs for you in your community. So come on and listen to us and tune us in. Get on our Facebook, Instagram, and all, as we're doing it right here for you in your community with Rainier Avenue Radio World. And God is an inspiration of gospel music. Also, we're doing a lot of different things in your community. We give out free food. We give out a lot of things in the community. We do a lot of shows. We do a lot of things on the sports part, and we want you to come on out and tune us in and come to the community, and we do a lot of things in your community. So make sure you go to our website, Rainier Avenue Radio World, and also go to the God Is website and look us up and see what we do in your community, something maybe you might like. So come on by and check us out from 11 to 2. Free food giveaway.
Dealing with COVID-19 is uncharted territory, and everyone has different challenges. People may feel anxious, down, or overwhelmed. For some, these feelings can lead to changes in sleep patterns, an increased use of alcohol or drugs, or withdrawing from the people around them. If you know someone who's having a hard time coping, you can help by reaching out to Talk and Listen. To learn more about how you can help someone in need, call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-TALK. Brought to you by the state of Washington.
And welcome back to LidLine Sports with myself, Renault Bean. Everybody calls me Pepe, and of course, Lil O Stevenson. We've been talking about the NBA, but LidLine Sports, you can hear us on Apple Podcasts, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Rainier Avenue World, wherever you get your podcasts. I want to give a special shout out to Niecy Coleman. She just got engaged last week. She's my baby sister. I love her so much, and she's having a great time in Miami with Rhonda Dorsey. So I'm loving that very much. Oh man, that makes me so happy to see her be successful and be happy. Man, I'm just like, wow, I'm overjoyed. So anyway, back to the NBA, bro.
I have a girl out there too. She didn't send me videos and everything.
Yeah, man. So anyway, back to the Philly Nets game real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Tobias Harris has got to be the third guy. I mean, he played okay. I mean, he seemed to come alive, so to speak.
Yeah.
He played well last night. He got 26. Harden got 26, and then Embiid had 35, I think. But that's going to have to be a regular thing if they're going to go deep into the playoffs. And when you talk about Thibault, love him. But the thing is, he has too many games where he doesn't score a point or get just two. I mean, that guy, he has to develop a jump shot. But, I mean, it looks good. His mechanics are great. I've watched his jump shot. His mechanics are good. It's just I just don't know what the problem is. He just can't hit shots, and that's going to have to change if they're going to be successful. So,
yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I think they have really good pieces. I just think just where they're at, and now they're competing for a championship. Everybody, well, Matisse for sure, and like guys like Tyrese Maxey, they're now thrusted into even higher of a role than what they were. To say when Ben Simmons was on the court. And I'm not saying that they are not ready yet to speak. I just they've never been in these situations before. And now doing it kind of on the fly with a new player, that's just another question for me. And, just like I said before, all their scoring is going to have to come within their starting lineup because they have no scoring outside of, I think, George Niang, and he's more of a shooter. Come off the bench. They used to be Tyrese Maxey's role as sixth man coming off the bench. So, you're asking a lot out of all those guys. You're right.
Is Shake Milton still there?
Yeah, he's not having that good of a season though.
No, he really is.
Yeah, and you're right. Matisse is going to have to make shots because he is going to be the guy that's going to be open a lot in half court set.
Yeah, he's gonna have to make him pay.
On the other side, though. KD is cooking right now.
Whew, with Greece.
That man, that man is cooking. We know he's coming back from a knee injury, but he has not missing a beat. And I'm telling you, man, I think last year the Nets were my favorite to come out the East. But if they can find just some way to stay healthy and
Yes.
gather some type of rhythm when Ben Simmons gets back on the court before the playoffs start, man, there ain't nobody in the world that can guard Kevin Durant. And
Nope.
you now add in Kyrie Irving, who we know he can score. He's played in big moments. Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, who's been an all-star. They have pieces. Patty Mills. So they have a little. And what was that?
I was gonna say, Andre Drummond is kind of a interesting because he seems to be happy there.
Yep.
He seemed to like it there. I don't think he was very happy in where was he, in LA and then
LA, Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for him it was more about he felt that he is the starting center still in the NBA, and I believe he is. Maybe not an all-star, but he is definitely a starting center in the NBA. He's definitely still, in my opinion, the best rebounder in the NBA. Just offensively, a lot of mechanics he can work on. But that was a piece that was something that Brooklyn needed, was size. And then now on top of that, you're bringing in Ben Simmons, who in my opinion is the best on-ball defender in the NBA, outside of maybe Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. He's right there though. Man, and a playmaker as well too. And just once he gets his confidence back, man, those guys are really scary in that deep East.
Oh, good stuff. Oh,
and then
so what's you got to? Oh, go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Now the other headline was, you got to give a shout out to Greg Popovich. Last Friday, he passed Don Nelson for most wins most all-time wins for a head coach with his 1,336th win over the Utah Jazz. It was one that was earned too. It was a good game. It came down to the last 2 minutes. But congrats to Greg Popovich, man. There's not much that he has not done as a NBA head coach. 5 NBA championships. Just won a gold medal for the first time, being the first-time coach for the USA team. Coached countless of Hall of Famers, but all doing it with just one team, the San Antonio Spurs. We don't know how much time he's going to have left being a head coach, but I do hope before it's all said and done that he gets one more time to coach at a high level and put the Spurs in a position to win an NBA championship again. He is definitely my favorite coach of my generation in the NBA.
Cool.
We can rant about him all day, man.
Yeah.
Quick news: Draymond Green will be back today. First time he's played in 1,000 days with having Draymond. Or no, first game he's back in 2 months. First time in 1,000 days that Draymond, Clay, and Steph will be back on the court for the first time. So that's pretty dope to see. Brook Lopez, he's back in action too. He was a big, vital part of their championship run last year. He's been out pretty much this whole season with back surgery.
Yes.
So a lot of these teams are getting healthy. And then Kevin Garnett got his number 5 jersey retired yesterday in the Celtics Mavs game. And it was pretty cool to see him reconcile with Ray Allen. Ray Allen was there. I thought that was pretty dope.
And Paul Pierce went out there and hugged them all three. Yeah, that was very nice.
Power rankings real quick before we get to the NCAA. Suns number 1 still. Might I say, Granville, if you're listening, blew out the Lakers last night pretty bad.
I love every second of that.
Yeah, number 2, the Miami Heat, 45-24. Memphis Grizzlies, number 3, 47-22. The Golden State Warriors are now back at number 4 after beating the Milwaukee Bucks over the weekend at 46-22. And then number 5, the Milwaukee Bucks at 42-26.
Cool. I want to give a shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They've been playing phenomenal basketball the last few weeks. I want to shout out Jalen Noel, who from Seattle, of course, has been balling. But the problem is the coach doesn't give him the proper minutes. He gives him You give them 30 minutes one night, 2 minutes the next night. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know what the heck is going on with that, but
And
it ticks me off a lot.
yeah,
But he got
no,
15 the other night in like 15 minutes. So man, let the guy go. I mean, let him play or put him somewhere else next season because I'm tired of seeing him getting jerked around.
and teams have I've heard that teams have inquired about him, but they like him enough where they want to keep him. But it's like, yeah, you got so much
Well,
logjam back there in that backcourt. He can only get minutes consistently if somebody's hurt.
well, either keep him and play him or you know what, send him on his way because he
Yep.
deserves to be on the court.
Yep. He's proven that
So
he's an
anyway,
MVP.
all right. I know out there, folks out there got their brackets in there and on their lap, looking on the computer, and they're saying, "Man, come on! All right, it's here. We're gonna talk about the NCAA 2022 tournament now. We
Yeah.
got the playing games tomorrow. We got the number one seeds: Gonzaga, Baylor. Who else?
Kansas and
Who else?
Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona, and who else?
Kansas.
Kansas. Yeah. Yeah, Kansas is probably one of my least favorite teams.
Oh, especially around this time for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, we got the playing games tomorrow, so let's talk about them real quick. You got Texas Southern and Texas A&M CC. So whoever wins that, Texas is going to be playing somewhere. And then in the other game, now this game is going to be really intriguing. You got Wyoming and Indiana.
Yep.
Wow, Indiana in a playing game. When
Yeah.
did you think you'd ever see that?
Yeah, and they've actually played really solid over the last couple of weeks. They've been playing teams really well.
Yeah.
I don't know if Wyoming will have enough, but they are a really good team as well. They played San Diego State really well. All those guys,
Right.
all the teams from Mountain West that made the tournament, they played really well. So you're right, that's going to be the fun game to watch though for sure. But I
Yeah.
don't know if that's enough for Indiana.
Yeah, and the other playing games, you got Wright State playing Bryant. And wow, I didn't know Kobe had a school, but that's cool. No. And then Rutgers, which was from my home state of New Jersey, is going to be playing Notre Dame. And that's another interesting thing. You got
That'd be
Notre Dame and Indiana both playing in playing games. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they got rich traditions, excuse me, in the NCAA. And so to see them in that, but you know what? That's the way things are now. Notre Dame was 22-10 and got to be in a playing game. Wow.
Mhm.
A lot of people were complaining that Michigan actually got into the tournament and got in pretty easily. Actually, they weren't one of the first four out, yet their record was 17-14. But they got in mostly on their strength of schedule.
Yep.
Right? Probably.
And they got a favorable matchup too for the first seed or for the first round.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So who do you? Okay, so we know Gonzaga's number one overall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they got Georgia State, so that should be no problem. And they're playing in
Mhm.
Portland.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that should be a cakewalk.
Yeah.
And then what other game? The 8 and 9 games are always intriguing to me. Like this one has got UConn. Boise and Memphis. That seems pretty interesting to me. Boise State just won the WAC. They
Yep.
beat San Diego State
Mm-hmm.
in the championship 53-52 in that game. And then Memphis with Penny Hardaway, that's going to be interesting to watch in that matchup. What other matchups intrigue you?
In that bracket, in that part in the West,
Yeah.
I do like the 5-12 matchup. We always know that the 5-12 is always, that 5-12 match is always where you catch an upset. New Mexico State is playing UConn. New Mexico State is a really good offensive team.
Yes.
They won the WCC, same league
Yes.
as Seattle is in.
And they
I
have a
think
Seattle kid on that team.
Oh, do they? I didn't know that.
Yes, Nate Pryor.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yep.
I think that is going to be a really fun matchup. And then also I like the 7-10 Davidson and Michigan State matchup as well.
Oh yes,
That's gonna be a good
that is a
matchup.
good one.
hmm
Yes, and of course Duke, Palo. I'm going to mention some local kids.
Yep.
Montana State with Raekwon Battle.
Yep.
So we got some guys, man. Seattle area, Washington. We're doing. we keep the pipeline going.
Definitely.
So in the East bracket, Baylor is back to defend their title, and they've got Norfolk State. Now Norfolk State's pretty good. They're 24-6, but let's be honest, they probably don't have a shot against Baylor, do they?
No, and even though Baylor is missing one of their best players, they just will not have enough sides. They're just not talented enough to be able to hang with Baylor now.
Yeah, Norfolk State's missing. If he's not missing, he's hurt. Their main guy has been hurt. So he's been playing hobble or sitting out. So that's going to be a struggle for them. And of course, here's my 8 and 9 matchup that I like very much: North Carolina and Marquette. Wow.
Yeah, that's going to be a very fun second round, regardless if it's Marquette or North Carolina that Baylor will have to face. And both of those guys have strengths. North Carolina is a great scoring team, and so is Marquette. I think that's just going to be a fun game to watch in itself. I think this is a really tough bracket. You have St. Mary's in here, UCLA, Texas, Purdue, Kentucky. This is going to be a tough bracket, and I do not see Baylor. I don't see Baylor making it out of this bracket.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle. I mean, for real. That North Carolina Marquette. See these 8 and 9 matchups, folks. If you don't know why I'm so interested in those, it's because the winner of those plays the number 1 seed, and those are the ones that usually can trip them up. Number 1 seeds, they usually struggle, or they could struggle. So if you're looking for, a cakewalk for number 1 seeds, it ain't going to be this one.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's shift over from the East. We're going to go to the South. Arizona is the number 1 seed there. They had a good game against UCLA. That game was interesting because UCLA had a 53-41 lead, and next thing you know, I saw Arizona take the lead, and it went back and forth. It was exciting. Arizona's got some studs, man.
Yep. They got length. They can score obviously really well.
Ben Mallorin. Woo.
Yep.
Matherin. Excuse me. I hate to get guys' names wrong. Ben Matherin. He's from Montreal, believe it or not. And I heard the bio on him. He said he had a tough go in Montreal. There's parts of Montreal that's pretty tough. And he lost his brother, unfortunately, and he got hit and run by a bike. So he's been really, dedicating the rest of his life and his progress to his brother. So that's pretty touching and something to root for. If you're looking for something for somebody to root for, it's hard not to run a root for that.
Okay, I don't know. I'll keep my eye on or listen to.
Yeah, and see, the 8-9 matchup, Seton Hall and TCU looks pretty decent. Seton Hall is a New Jersey school that I'm familiar with, along with Rutgers, Monmouth. Even though I don't think Monmouth didn't make it this year, but those are the schools that I'm familiar with back there. But UAB in Houston, man, that looks really good too.
That is going to be a fun game. 2 contrasting styles of play. We all know Houston being one of the better defensive teams in the NCAA. UAB has one of the leading scorers in the NCAA on their team. They can get out and score it. So that's gonna be a fun matchup. But I know Houston's one of your teams that you keep an eye on. They actually have a really good chance to get to possibly maybe upset Arizona here in that top half of the bracket.
UAB is what, 27-7?
Yep.
Houston's 29-5. So that's a lot of wins, man. So that's pretty good.
The
And looking at
second,
Michigan plays Colorado State.
yeah,
Don't sleep on Colorado State because they got one of the best players. I forget his name, unfortunately, but he's one of the best players in the country.
okay.
So Michigan needs to watch out. And is Juwan Howard, is he able to coach that?
Yes, I think he's back.
Okay. I know, yeah, he was out for the regular season, but I think he's back for
I think he came back last game, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Could be wrong.
All right.
Yeah, and that bottom half of that bracket is actually really tough. You got Villanova. You got that 7-10 matchup, which is, you got everybody's favorite in Loyola Chicago.
Hey, I gotta shout them out because that's my boy Michael Carter's daughter's school, Rosa.
Nice, okay.
So I got love for Loyola Chicago, 25-7. So I'm definitely rooting for them to beat Ohio State.
I am too. We all know about the story. But one of my favorites in this tournament, who is playing really well right now, beating a lot of good teams in the SEC over the past 2 weeks, is Tennessee. I really think they have a chance of making it to the Final Four this year. They are a really good team, and I think they're my team to make it out of the South region.
Yeah, and they beat Kentucky in the final.
Yep.
So in the SEC final. So yeah, good stuff. You got Kansas as number one. Oh, I do want to mention this. Wisconsin is playing in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
What?
As a BC.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Man, man. Okay. How come San Diego State couldn't play in San Diego? I mean, there's games in San Diego. How come they didn't do that?
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So Midwest, you got Kansas as number one. They're 28-6. They got Texas, the winner of Texas Southern, Texas A&M, CC. So they got to play a Texas team. And then, of course, they will play the winner of San Diego State and Creighton. Creighton won they won, what conference is that they win? I think they're in the Big East. They lost. I think they lost in the Big East title game.
They lost to Villanova, but they were playing really good all tournament though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Creighton, and for folks that don't know, Creighton is in Nebraska. Now, how they're in the Big East, I'll never know, but okay, whatever. They are in Nebraska, so yeah, that's kind of funny. Iowa just won the what are they? They're in the Big 12, right?
Yes.
They won that. They beat Purdue. No, what am I saying? The Big 10.
Yeah, Big 10. Yes,
yeah, they beat Big 10, man. What's wrong with me? I know people shouting at me, man. What are you doing? Anyway, yeah, they won the Big 10. They beat Purdue Sunday. They won Saturday on a 28-foot lucky shot by Bohannon.
I saw that live.
Man. Yeah. So, but then they ended up winning the championship. So I guess, is it luck? Yeah. So anyway, and then of course there's Wisconsin. They play Colgate. They play some toothpaste. And USC and Miami looks pretty intriguing to me.
Yep.
The Washington Huskies they gave USC fits, except that they could not hit a shot in the second half, and that's what caused their demise. And such did not get an invite to. Well, we knew they weren't getting invited to the NCAA. They got no NIT invite, and they got no CBI invite.
Well, you need to know that's a lot to do with their terrible non-conference schedule.
Exactly.
I believe if they would have played just at least some of these good West Coast schools, I think that they would have had no issue making a tournament this year.
Yeah, but the thing is, you got to play and win, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and then they played and lost some of these small schools that they played.
That's the problem. That's the problem right there.
And I know a lot of people were surprised because over the pretty much the second half of the season, they played pretty solid. And, maybe they are good enough at this point to maybe play in the NIT, but yeah, the strength of
Yeah.
schedule and them losses just doesn't help.
Yeah, but I thought they'd at least get in the CBI. I mean,
Yeah.
I know high school teams that could play in the CBI. So
Looking at that NIT bracket, that's going to be a really good tournament too. So it's kind of not surprising to see them not in the NIT at all. How do
Yeah.
you feel about only three teams in the Pac-12 making it to the tournament this year?
Well, I mean, is it a surprise? I mean, what Arizona, USC, and UCLA? I mean, Oregon earlier in the season looked like they were a tournament team, but then they really hit the skids. Even
This is
Washington beat them
really
and
bad.
beat them soundly.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: they beat Washington by 100 the first time they played them, and then lost to them by 20 or whatever. I mean, how do you
Yep.
do that?
Yep. I do not know if Dana Altman is on the hot seat or not, but that was just uncalled for Oregon basketball team to play like how they played this year.
Yeah.
Wazoo was all right all season, but I think
Mhm.
just like they didn't play anybody in non-conference. And then Colorado, I'm pretty sure just missed making the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
But yeah. But this Midwest bracket too, this is another one. I do not see Kansas making it out of here. They're going to run into trouble with Kansas or Creighton or San Diego State right off the bat. Another one of my favorite teams who's been playing really well towards the second half of the season, Iowa. I don't know how they only got a 5 seed, but they are going to be a team that I think can make a run in this bracket. Auburn's not playing well as of right now. Bruce Pearl said it himself. And then I like Wisconsin as well. Yep. I don't know if Auburn will make it out of the Sweet 16.
Yeah. So who's going all the way, bro? Because I watched, of course, I watched part of the bracketology yesterday, and Clark Kellogg and Seth, whatever his name is, said that they each had the opposite. Clark had Gonzaga, and Seth had Arizona taking it all. I don't know. I mean, come on, man. That seems too straightforward and easy. Somebody's going to get tripped up.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. I got Tennessee and Tennessee and Purdue making the championship. And
what? Wow.
I got Tennessee winning it all. That's what I'm
doing.
Purdue is my favorite coming into the season. So I'm not going to be surprised if they make it to the championship. But that's who I got.
I think they ran out of gas Sunday.
Yeah, they did. They definitely did.
Man.
Who you got?
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know these teams well enough to be honest to say who's going to. I mean, because, it's easy to say Baylor or Kentucky. I don't like Kentucky at all. Coming out.
I'm mad at you.
But it looks like they're probably the best ones.
Mm-hmm.
2 seed. Yeah, so I'm gonna say Kentucky in whatever East, and then man, I'm not gonna go with Gonzaga, so forget that. I'm gonna say Kentucky comes out, and then man, let's. Yeah, you know what? Let's go with Kentucky and Auburn. Let's play that game.
Okay. 2 SEC teams.
Both 2 seeds, right? Coming out of the SEC. Yeah, why not?
Best conference in the NCAA.
Yeah, listen, I'm not. Yeah, but it's just a guessing game, so we'll see. We'll find out. You got a now. Who's your favorite team? You said? Did you say you had a favorite team?
I like Purdue all season, but like I said, I do think what Tennessee and Wisconsin, but I do think what Tennessee has done over the last 2 weeks. I always say that the NCAA tournament is the most hottest team usually gets to the national championship, and Tennessee is hot right now.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, Purdue. Did you see that one that shot that what's his name? Ivy.
Jaden Ivey, which one?
Oh man, when he stole the ball and then he basically made the shot flat on his back. going down.
Oh yes, I did see that.
Oh man,
Dope.
that was crazy. I mean, I shouted as soon as I saw that. I said, "Whoa!"
Yep.
or something to that effect. And Doreen's looking at me like, "What the heck's going on with you over there?" But hey, that's what happens when I get excited watching ball. Because man, I can't do none of that stuff no more.
And then
Woo.
you said plans start tomorrow, right?
Yes, right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can't. Man, I'm already gassed up.
Man,
Because
this
this
is
is my favorite time of the year. Look, the NCAA March Madness is better than World Series, better
Yep.
than the NBA Finals, better than the Super Bowl,
Yep.
all that. It's better.
Yep.
And I can't wait.
It's just
So
a
look,
good
bro,
time.
I had a great time, man. We're about out of time.
Yes,
I
sir.
want to thank you, Lil O, for your input, your great analogy. I want to thank you, everyone, all the listeners, for supporting us and listening to us every Monday night, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. I want you to continue to listen to past shows, old shows on our platform, Apple, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Rainier Avenue World. Thank you very much. Granville will be back next week. So thank you once again. LidLine Sports, sports as we see it from
Just below our lid.
Holla.
I go to work like a doctor when I